A battle for Lilah, the Roloff family's darkest winter. Hello friends, welcome to my channel. I am Elena and I hope you are well. If you like the video, please subscribe the channel USA Dramatic Show and press the bell icon. The Oregon winter had settled over the Roloff farm like a heavy, gray blanket. Frost coated the barn roof, the trees stood bare, and the cold air carried an almost ominous stillness. Inside Zach and Tori Roloff's cozy farmhouse, the fireplace crackled quietly, but there was no warmth in their hearts that morning. Lilah, their beautiful little girl with the brightest smile and the most curious eyes, had been running a fever for days. At first they thought it was just a seasonal bug, something that would pass with rest and fluids. But overnight her condition had worsened, drastically. Tori woke before dawn, startled by the sound of Lilah's shallow, labored breathing. She rushed to her daughter's side, pressing a trembling hand against her forehead. The heat radiating from Lilah's skin was frightening. "Zach," she whispered, voice shaking, "she's burning up. This isn't normal. We need to take her in now." Zach, still pulling on a sweatshirt, felt a wave of panic crash over him. He hated seeing his children sick, but something in Tori's tone told him this was different. The 30-minute drive to the hospital felt like an eternity. Lilah, bundled in blankets in her car seat, whimpered softly but didn't have the energy to cry. That silence was what scared Tori most. Lilah was usually so full of chatter and questions. Zach kept one hand on the wheel, the other reaching back to touch his daughter's tiny hand. His knuckles were white against the steering wheel. "It's going to be okay, sweetheart," he said, though the words were as much for himself as for her. Tori stared out the passenger window, her mind replaying every moment of the past week. Did she miss something? Could she have caught this earlier? The guilt was unbearable. The moment they arrived, the emergency room staff whisked Lilah away for immediate evaluation. The sight of doctors and nurses surrounding her small body, attaching monitors and speaking in urgent tones, left Zach and Tori frozen in place. A nurse approached them quickly. "She's in respiratory distress. We're working on stabilizing her now. Please, wait here until the doctor comes to speak with you." Tori clutched Zach's arm, tears already streaming down her cheeks. Respiratory distress. Those words echoed like a nightmare. Zach wrapped an arm around her, trying to be strong, but his own tears betrayed him. After what felt like hours, a pediatric specialist entered the waiting room, his face serious. "Your daughter has a severe respiratory infection that's developed into pneumonia," he explained. "Her oxygen levels are dangerously low, and we need to admit her to the pediatric intensive care unit immediately." Tori's knees buckled. Zach caught her, holding her close as she sobbed into his shoulder. "Will she be okay?" Zach managed to ask, his voice cracking. "She's a fighter," the doctor replied gently, "but the next 48 hours are critical." The pediatric ICU was a place no parent wanted to be. Machines beeped steadily, oxygen tubes and 4 lines surrounded their little girl, and the air smelled faintly of antiseptic. Tori stayed at Lilah's bedside, stroking her hair, whispering stories about the farm and her brothers Jackson and Josiah, waiting for her at home. Zach took shifts, pacing the small room when he wasn't sitting beside her. Every cough from Lilah's tiny chest felt like it shattered another piece of his heart. Word spread quickly through the Roloff family. Matt and Karen arrived at the hospital the next morning, bringing coffee and quiet hugs. Amy came too, her eyes red from crying. Jackson drew a picture of the whole family together, placing Lilah in the middle with a big sun over her head. "So she gets better faster," he told his parents. Tori cried when she saw it. "She's going to love this when she wakes up." Just after midnight on the 3rd day, alarms went off in Lilah's room. Her oxygen levels had plummeted and a team of nurses rushed in. Tori felt her world spin as she was gently pushed back from the bed. Zach pulled her into the hallway, both of them helpless as they listened to the rapid instructions being shouted inside. Minutes later, though it felt like hours, a nurse emerged. "We've stabilized her. But she's very weak. We'll keep a close watch tonight." The following days were a mix of tiny victories and heartbreaking setbacks. Lilah's fever began to lower, but her breathing was still strained. Zach read her favorite bedtime stories, even though she was too tired to respond. Tori played soft music on her phone, hoping it would comfort her. Each morning they asked the doctors the same question: "Is she going to be okay?" And each time the doctors gave the same careful answer: She's improving, but we need more time. On the 7th day, something miraculous happened. Lilah opened her eyes, looked at her parents, and whispered, "Hi, Mommy." "Hi, Daddy." Tori broke into sobs, kissing her daughter's hand over and over. Zach laughed through his tears, the tension in his chest easing for the first time in days. The doctor smiled. "She's turning a corner. Let's keep going." Recovery was slow, but every step felt like a blessing. Lilah was weaned off the oxygen tube. She started eating small bites of food again. Tori brought in Jackson and Josiah for short visits, and the sight of her brothers made Lilah giggle for the first time since she'd fallen ill. Zach took her for short walks down the hospital hallway, holding her hand as she regained her strength. 2 weeks after they'd rushed her to the hospital, Lilah was finally discharged. The ride home felt like a victory parade. At the farmhouse, the family had decorated the living room with balloons and a Welcome Home Lilah banner. Jackson proudly presented her with a new stuffed animal, and Josiah gave her a slobbery toddler hug. That night, after tucking all 3 kids into bed, Zach and Tori sat together in the quiet living room. They held hands, not speaking at first, just listening to the sound of their children breathing peacefully upstairs. Lilah's illness had shaken them to their core, but it also reminded them of what mattered most. Farm chores, TV schedules, social media. None of it meant anything compared to the health and happiness of their children. Tori started volunteering with a local children's hospital fund, determined to help other families in similar situations. Zach promised himself never to take a single moment for granted. Chapter 13. The first sunny day. Weeks later, spring sunshine spilled across the farm. Lilah, now full of energy again, ran through the grass with Jackson, chasing bubbles that floated in the breeze. Tori watched from the porch, tears of joy in her eyes. Zach wrapped an arm around her. "We almost lost her," he whispered. "But we didn't," Tori replied, smiling. "She's our miracle." And as laughter echoed across the fields, the Roloff family knew that no matter what came next, they would face it together, stronger than ever.
Little people, big world's Tori Roloff issues important reminder after house fire. The TLC star opened up about a scary incident at their home. Zach and Tori Roloff have a lot going on with 3 young kids, but recently, the TLC personalities experienced more chaos than usual in the form of a house fire, prompting Tori to issue an important reminder to her followers. On Friday, September 20, Tori took to her Instagram stories to share details about a kitchen fire at their battleground wash home. "Oak, for those asking about the fire yesterday that happened in our toaster oven. I burnt some cinnamon rolls. That's all it was," she said in a clip. "I think when I opened up the door to the toaster, it let the oxygen in, and it just took off." Tori explained that she was cooking fish, got distracted and forgot about the cinnamon rolls. As her eldest son, Jackson, 7, lamented not having any of the tasty pastries to enjoy, she agreed, telling him, "I want cinnamon rolls too, but I burnt them." Tori continued in another video segment. "This is also your PSA to have your fire extinguisher somewhere in your house, because we put ours in the garage when we redid our floors and never put it back in my pantry. It's now back in my pantry." It seems Zach and Tori got the situation under control without needing to call the fire department or seek medical care for any of their family members. In addition to Jackson, they share a daughter, Lilah, and a son, Josiah. Hopefully, this branch of the Roloff family will soon enjoy homemade cinnamon rolls, just without the added drama of their toaster oven catching on fire. Little People Big World star Matt Roloff might have been pressured to propose to Karen Chandler after her recent comments and decisions. Since splitting from his ex-wife Amy Roloff, Matt has been in a relationship with Karen, who was a longtime employee at the Roloff Farms and managed the pumpkin patch before she became Matt's assistant. There were rumors the duo were having an affair before Matt's marriage to Amy crashed. Although both Matt and Karen deny it, it hasn't helped Karen's relationship with the Roloff kids, who haven't accepted her as part of the family. Nonetheless, in 2023, Matt and Karen announced their engagement with plans to get married in 2024. After 6 years of dating the pair, Matt popped the question in their backyard in Arizona. However, specific trends have shown that all might not be well with their wedding plans. First, Karen refused to live on the Roloff farms to avoid being reminded of Amy, and she wouldn't agree to have her wedding on the farm. Also, Matt's statement about his feelings towards getting married again and Karen's hurried moves suggest she might want the marriage more than Matt. After an episode of Little People Big World Season 25 showed Karen and Matt disagreeing over what their house should look like as they prepare for their wedding, Karen sold her Oregon home for $529,000. The couple's living arrangements have raised eyebrows since they started dating 7 years ago, with Karen living separately from Matt. Although Matt and Karen revealed their big wedding will be happening sometime in 2024, they have yet to pick a specific date. But that didn't stop Karen from selling off her house, since she is about to become Mrs. Roloff. Karen's statement about cohabiting in the house that belongs to Matt because they aren't married yet shows how desperately she wants it and how she is using every avenue to pressure Matt. Meanwhile, after their recent spat during an episode of the show and previous comments about not being sure about their marriage plans, it's a bit suspicious that Karen has rushed off to sell her house after keeping it for the last 7 years. Despite getting a house with the plans of moving in together, Karen should have at least waited till all of their plans came together before selling her old home. Also, Karen's son Connor lived in the apartment before it was sold after separating from his ex-girlfriend Ashley Washam via the U.S. Sun. Despite the excitement about their engagement and the anticipation surrounding their wedding, Matt's shocking admission that he might not be totally on board with the idea of getting married again places a massive spotlight on his relationship with Karen. Matt, speaking to his friend Ty and his ex-wife Amy's husband, Chris Merrick, talked about how petrified he felt about getting married again. Although he doesn't see himself with anybody but Karen, Matt is concerned about how their relationship might change once they marry, noting, "We both like it and have been married, but do we need to do that exactly?" Matt's honest admission and skepticism called into question his decision to have proposed to Karen in the first place via People. Since announcing their marriage plans, the couple has shifted the potential date further down the year, which also questions their intentions and commitment to tying the knot. The couple's relationship arrangement has worked for the past 7 years. After Matt's public admission, the idea of walking down the altar might not have entirely been his idea. After revealing his decision to leave the family's Oregon home to his ex-wife Amy, Matt and Karen enlisted the services of an interior designer to help decorate their new home. However, Karen and Matt's relocation plans didn't quite go as they expected, as evidenced by their Little People Big World Season 25, Episode 2 disagreement over what the interior of their new house should look like. Matt's idea of putting a large piece of barn wood in his office in the home was met with a comment of "That's obnoxious" by Karen. However, the most revealing moment was when Matt explained he wanted them to work together on their new home, to which Karen replied, "I do look at it that way. We're not married. This is Matt's house that I happen to cohabitate in." Karen's statement about cohabiting in the house that belongs to Matt because they aren't married yet shows how desperately she wants it and how she is using every avenue to pressure Matt until it happens. Hopefully, Karen is doing this because she loves Matt, not because she is a gold digger, as some LPBW fans believe. Tori and Lilah Roloff's family of 5 has been spending some fun in the sun this summer while enjoying lake life activities in Washington State. The Little People, Big World alums shared a glimpse at their time on the lake on social media this week. As evidenced in a video montage that Tori shared with fans on Instagram on Thursday, July 18, all 3 of their young kids seemed to be having the time of their lives as they embraced summer vacation mode. Tori's video began with views of their kayaking efforts as her oldest son, 7-year-old Jackson, proudly navigated his own while simultaneously operating a fishing rod. Tori and Zach's youngest child, 2-year-old son Josiah, seemed eager to help his mother paddle as he sat sandwiched between her legs in a separate kayak. Additional clips included in the video showed Josiah sitting in shallow water as he inspected the rocks along the shore with a stick, and his older sister, 4-year-old Lilah, perfecting a belly flop. Jackson and Zach also kayaked near each other on the lake, which Tori identified in her post-comment section as Lake Merwin, beneath a cloudless sky. Living for these lake days, Tori wrote in the caption. The video amassed thousands of likes in the first several hours after it was posted, as fans raced to the comment section to express how much they love seeing the happy family enjoying the outdoors together. Your kids are living life to the fullest. Both you and Zach are awesome parents. One fan gushed as another agreed the three kids are living their best lives. Love the videos and looks like everyone is having a great time at the lake. Another person said while one fan applauded them for living the good life. How fun! What wonderful memories y'all